removal of VAT to get more people to bring EV. So what are the timelines for the incentives, both monetary and non-monetary, to encourage people to bring in e-vehicles into Ghana? Honorable Minister.
Okay. The technical director would speak to it.
Remember that the assurance you give the House is scheduled for 2024 to 2026 for creating financial and non-financial incentives. From 2024, 25, and now we're in 26. So that schedule, we will need it because you have to speak on that schedule you give, both monetary and non-monetary.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So with the EV policy, we have a phased implementation approach. And as the Minister said, the phase one is from 2024 to 2026, where the focus is on creating the enabling framework, and one has to do with the incentives as has been prescribed. As we said earlier, we are working with the Ministry of Trade and Agribusiness, to revise the Ghana auto policy to include EVs. And in that policy, we are looking at some incentives and the rest for the assembly and manufacturing of EVs. So as we speak, we are still in the first phase of implementation, and we can say that at least the policy has been revised. There's a stakeholder consultations that have been done, it's been validated. The next step is to seek cabinet and parliamentary approvals on it, and the Ministry of Trade is leading on that aspect because it has to do with assembly and manufacturing of vehicles. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
But in short, it means you haven't created any incentives yet. You can't list them for us, both monetary and non-monetary. You haven't created them yet. Is that what you're saying?
So, as I said, it's assembly and manufacturing. And in there are import exemptions, one on component parts. So when you are coming in as SKDs, that's semi-knockdown parts or completely knocked down parts, you benefit from some exemptions by the Ministry of Trade. And these are things that have been considered in the Ghana Auto policy in terms of the revised policy.
Honorable Minister, let me add the next question to Ray because it's totally linked so that you can put the answers together. He wants to find out from the minister when government will present this program of incentives to Parliament. So first, you have to give us the incentives you have done so far, list them for us. And two, when will you present them to Parliament?
So I have mentioned the incentive for assembly and manufacturing. That's what has been now. Now, in terms of the non-fiscal reforms, we have worked with the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority in terms of revision to the road traffic regulations. Now, for anyone driving an EV, you'll be identified as such through your vehicle registration. So that's a non-incentive for somebody who is using an EV. On that, the regulations is before this House, and I'm sure in the next coming days, they should see the light of day once Parliament approves.
Will you consider slashing the import duty and the VAT for EV vehicles for the ordinary people as an incentive?
I did say that government focus is to ensure that we're able to manufacture them locally. And so through the auto policy, we should be able to create a market where Ghanaians can buy within Ghana and not to encourage import.
As we see today, we don't have, apart from Kantaka, who is trying, I've seen a couple of vehicles that is there. We as of now, he's not having enough, and we are not also buying for whatever reason. What do we do in the interim? That's what I'm asking. Because you want to encourage EV vehicles and EV use.
So we would have wished Ghanaians, in fact, all of us, move by some means of mass transport. That's government policy. And so the focus is not really on private users who drive their vehicles on the road, because we want to, one, discourage them, and then to focus on improving public transport. So the incentives that have been given is mainly targeted towards mass transport. And so for those who want to use them locally, government policy is saying that try and get them locally, and that's what we are working with Ministry of Trade and Agribusiness to get that done urgently. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
So your incentives is more on public transport, all right? Does it cover GPRTU and the other trade unions? Is that it? Transport unions, does it cover them?
So it's open. Anyone intending to bring in a bus for public transport services first apply to the Ministry of Transport, and then based on that application, the ministry grant that approval, and it goes through that process in terms of GRA, and that exemption is granted. And so we have had a number of firms coming to us. One is Smart Transit, which is also a private company running electric buses. And more often than not, he comes to us, seek those exemptions, and those are
Right, I want you to be audible, because this is very important to the public, that if you are, it's not just government vehicles, so to say. If you are a private company like VIP, VVIP, whatever transport you are, and you decide to bring in e-vehicles, there are some incentives for you. Is that the case? So go ahead and spell out so that people will get interested, because we want them to also go the e-way, e-vehicle way.
Yes, so for any firm, whether government or a private company, the exemptions are open for them to assess. If it's a bus, you apply to the Ministry of Transport, and those exemptions are granted to you. And it's 12.5% of the CIF value of the vehicle. So once you bring in that vehicle, we exempt that amount on the dutiable payment that you would have made to government. So that is the arrangement. Honorable Chair.
Yes. Honorable colleagues. Yes, Marfo.
Yes, I want to find out, Madam Minister, I want to find out, if you say 12% of the payable duty, what exactly are you talking about?
So, Honorable Chair, the key component in terms of the duty payable, one is the import duty, which for EV is 20%. Import VAT for EV is 12.5%, and then there are other charges. So what has been waived off now is a 12.5% import VAT, and that's what we are referring to. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
So the 20% EV import duty is still in force, but the VAT component, which is about 15% or cumulatively 70%, 12% of that amount is taken out. Is that what you're saying?
Honorable Chair, that's exactly so.
Mr. Chair, I don't know whether I can continue with my question now.
Yes, please.
Yes, but I don't know if it is okay for me to ask questions on issues that they have not. We haven't.
There are more
yet.
questions. They have a lot of questions, maybe to fall into that.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's fine.
So, Honorable Minister, we'll go to the next question. On the same 9th of July, Honorable Arnaud Dompre asked a supplementary question to the very question we are asking. And it is possible you have answered, it is possible you have not. So take cue from it and move on. He says, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the role of with the role of the Speaker, the Minister repeatedly has observed that the Minister for Finance will play an important role, which is one aspect of the connecting factors or the variables. However, there are variables which are also relevant, such as garage operators, mechanics, and academia. Because of the question has to do with the penetration of EV vehicles in our country. And I further want to find out from the Minister if in his pursuit of the Ministry of Finance support, he's also considering the variables which are key in the implementation of the penetration of e-vehicles in our country. That is exactly what he's saying. And the the assurance is that the House will, the ministry will complete a nationwide sanitization by mid-2026. Have you started that process yet? You have 3 months to mid-2026.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, so far, 13 out of the 16 regions have been visited, and the remaining 3, we are scheduled to also embark on the other 3, so we will meet the stipulated date that was given in Parliament. So we are on course.
So, honorable colleagues, any other question?
Mr. Chairman, I want to ask, what is the mode of the said sensitization, and which regions are left, the 3? Do you meet them in their offices? You go to the marketplaces? You go to the radio stations?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The 3 regions left are Greater Accra, Eastern, and Ashanti region. Thank you.
And the mode?
How do you meet them? What is the mode of meeting them? Because this is very new. Not many people have heard of it.
Exactly. So the director will throw more light on it. So go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair. So this has been the mode. We, using the Ministry of Local Government and then the regional administrations, in fact, they bring all the stakeholders together in a conference setting, and then we deliver the message in terms of PowerPoint presentations. Beyond those presentations and discussions, we also distribute copies of the EV policy itself with the participant. And we have also created a platform on our website where you can just access the website and download copies of the EV policy. So it's more of a public fora where we engage various stakeholders and with the assistance of the regional administrations. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
It's honorable.
I want to know, in the Western region, where was that held and when?
That was 2024 in, I think, SNIT's conference room in Western region, yes, in Takrade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Director, how many of these public fora have you held in 2025 and then this year?
Last year, no. This year, the plan is still ongoing, sir. Thank you.
I don't get it. What is the meaning of last year? No. You say you've done 13.
Yes.
And you said last year you didn't hold one. And this year the plan is still, can you clarify? Did you hold a single one this year?
Not yet.
So are you saying that all were done in prior to 2024 December? Is that what you are saying?
Okay, so in 2024, we completed 13 dissemination exercises in 13 regions. Now, last year, it's a project being financed under the Transport Sector Improvement Project, which is supported by the World Bank. Unfortunately, last year, before we could start, the project came to a close, and so the financing fizzled out. And that's why Honorable Minister said we need to engage Ministry of Finance in terms of the financing for the dissemination exercise. And so as we speak, we are in that engagement, and as Minister said, by mid of this year, we should be able to do this assignment. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, what you are telling the public is that you completed 13 dissemination exercises, regions, 13 regions, disseminated information about e-vehicle to them before December 2024. And in 2025, and then up to now, 2026, you have not yet done one. The 3 left, you have not completed them. Is that what you are saying?
So, as I said, the funding for the project has elapsed.
No, I have not talked about funding. I will come to the funding. I just asked you, you completed 13 by December 2024, and the entire 2025 and 26 up to March 2026 now. You have not yet tackled the rest of the 3 left. Is that it?
Yes. But we are still within the time, so we'll make sure that we'll finish the 3
I'm
left.
coming to that question. The reason I asked you that is you came to Parliament to assure the committee 8 months, 7 months ago, not 8, because it was in September. No, it was in July, so 8 months ago, that you would have completed nationwide by middle of 2026. And you just had only 3 regions because you've already done 13. By 2024 December, you had finished 13. So you had just 3 to complete. And 8 months now, you have not yet been able to complete it. Is that the case? Honorable Minister, can you answer that question?
Yes, please.
Yes, for.
That is the case. We still have the 3 regions left, but we are within the time that was stipulated.
How expensive is one region? Because essentially it's Greater Accra and which are the 2 regions? Ashanti and
Eastern.
Eastern. These are the 3 regions. And they are just within each other. So, and they are the most populous. So what is the budget you are looking for that you cannot complete these 3 in about 15 months of a new government?
Okay, my director want to answer that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, like my colleague said, we were fortunate enough to have the World Bank support the dissemination. In fact, coincidentally, the policy was approved by Cabinet alongside the National Transport Policy. And so we were disseminating the 2 policies concurrently. Now, the funding for the dissemination was approved by the World Bank and actually ring-fenced. However, somewhere 2024, just when we were in the process of embarking on the dissemination, the funds were swept from our accounts. I think there was a general exercise that the Controller and Accountant General undertook. And so since then, we've been pursuing the Controller and Accountant General, as it were, to see if we could have those funds restored. The other issue is that we hadn't budgeted, because we had received the funding, we hadn't budgeted in the current budget at the time to undertake the exercise. But really, we had the funds, we had a very elaborate program. We were just about rounding it up when the funds were swept. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, the funds that normally the controller will sweep unutilized funds should be GOG funding, not either counterpart funding for World Bank or loans. Are you saying for sure that controller swept a World Bank project fund and has not refunded to you, so that we can pursue this very matter? Because I've never heard of this before.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That is correct, sir. The funds were actually moved into our operational accounts. And so there was a general sweeping. I stand to be corrected, but there was a general sweeping of accounts, and those funds were swept as well. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman,
after
I want to, make this inquiry. How many days does it take when you go to a region to do this, dissemination? How many days does it take, and how many personnel do you use in this exercise?
Yes, Honorable Chair, thank you. So, normally, in terms of participation, we get close to about 200 officers participating.
Your officers?
Not from the office, I mean participants. Participants to...
Question I asked wasn't participants. I said from your office. How many facilitators go And how many days does it take? Yeah, you've set your own question.
Okay, so it depends on the regions, but in any case, the facilitators are not more than 3. If it has to do with minister also participating, then he's added to that number. But mostly there are 3 facilitators per session, and it's a one-day event for the program itself. In terms of participation, if it happens to be, for example, in the Western region, officers will have to travel a day before the event, and then after the event they return. So that has been the practice. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, and I beg you, Mr. Chairman, and you do so in collaboration with the regional, office or the district office. So with this 4 persons, including the minister, and a day's program, you are telling us that the ministry is not able to get funds. Just a day's program, the ministry is not able to raise that funds to do this sensitization program, but wait on World Bank money.
Well, he's just asking how difficult, how much is your budget such that it's so difficult for the ministry to do this, to complete the 3 regions?
Mr. Chairman, as the director earlier said, these things are budgeted for before you can go ahead and implement. At the time, because we had this fund, which was already there, it was not budgeted for subsequently. And so if we decide to do it now by GOG, then we budget for and go ahead and do it. So for now, we do not have any fund to do
Chief
this.
Director, that's not an excuse. I'm coming, Chief Director, it's not an excuse. Your minister came to Parliament before the 2026 budget to assure the House that it will be completed. So if you do not have it in the 2026 budget, what are you going to use? And she has just assured us by mid-year it will be completed. So if you don't have a budget for 2026, how will you complete it? We understand that you thought that the money would be there, and so when the budget was prepared, but it's also not even understandable. The reason why I'm saying that is the controller swept it in January 2025. The budget itself was prepared in March 2025. I hope you are following my argument. Yes. The budget of 2025 was prepared by the new government in March 2025, 2 clear months after controller had swept it. And the minister, knowing that there's no money, came and said they will complete it before this year. You didn't put it in the budget again for 2026, or you have?
We have not, but we are pursuing it at a controller, and we are getting all the assurances that we will get the monies restored to us. And so we are following it up seriously.
And you spend money that has not been budgeted for.
Sure.
How are you going to spend money that has not been budgeted for? If your controller were to restore to you, which budget will allow you to spend it?
Because we have already planned for these ones, those projects are already there. It's not GOG budget, but that was already planned and budgeted for, and then the money is given and put in our operational account. We can continue with that process if it is restored and proper accounts given for that.
Ranking.
Thank you, Chairman. My sister, the Deputy Minister, this is the Assurance Committee, and you are assuring the committee that by the end of the middle of this year, you will be able to complete it. Meanwhile, the explanation that you are giving shows that even the monies that you use for that project is not there. It means that the assurance you are giving this committee is not going to materialize. What steps, I'm coming, what steps, Director, are you taking to let controller know that those money were not GOG funds and that they were money from the World Bank, so that you can be able to retrieve it? Or Alternatively, what arrangements are you making to get funds to complete the project before the middle of the year? Because you have assured us, you assured Parliament, you've come before the committee, and you are assuring the committee too.
We have actually, Honorable Chair, written to controller, and we've been following up. We do believe that we would get these funds. Beyond this, I believe that the Honorable Minister would have some discussions and see how, if we cannot get immediately from controller, how we can engineer to see how we'll do it. But this will be done by the mid-year.
Mr. Chair, I hope that I think we should leave it. He's promised that they are going to engineer and has assured this committee by the end of June or June. It's left 3 months. By the end of June or by July, it will be done.
Yes.
It's not far. The committee is still alive. So just take cognizance of it that you have come before Parliament, you've made assurance, you are not able to fulfill it, you have come before the committee, and you've made the same assurance. Thank you very much, Chairman. I will raise my case.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister, you remember the Honorable Dr. Kwabena Donko?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, he appeared before this same committee some years back and made a promise, gave deadlines to a project, and he put his job on the line. When the day came and he couldn't fulfill, he had to resign. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it have happened again in 2024 when the Roads Minister made those, he made a lot of promises and assurances. He appeared before the committee and gave us 2 months that Azintam roads and then the other town roads around your area there were going to be tarred. That day I asked him a question whether he was willing to put his job on the line. He said so. So when the committee prepared the report, and even the former Education Minister, Dr. Adichum, we made a report. Unfortunately, leadership then never allowed us to take the report because the reports were very damning and the report could lead to the resignation of some of the ministers. Today we are here. Minister himself is not here. You are giving us deadline. You are saying by end of July. Minister himself is not here. Though deputy is standing in, and so we can say that's the minister. July, this is the assurances committee. It's not even in the chamber of parliament. This is the assurances committee, a committee that has same status as the High Court. You have given us July ending. Do you stand by that?
Honorable Chair, we stand by it. We would do the sensitization in the rest of the 3 regions and report to you by end of July.
Thank you very much. We'll go to the next question. On the 30th of October 2025, Honorable Francis Asensu Boachi, Bantama MP, asked a question, and let me read. Mr. Speaker, I beg to ask the Minister for Transport what specific measures the Ministry is implementing to revitalize the Metro mass transit system at Abrepo Junction to improve efficiency, enhance commuters' accessibility in the Ashanti region, and create employment opportunities for the local economy. The Minister assured the House that the Ministry is in the process of procuring 500 new MMT buses and also about to implement the 24-hour economy service. We need an update on this. October and till now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Metro Mass has engaged various suppliers for the delivery of these buses. The first one is the Isuzu company in Egypt. President spoke about it on the State of the Nation address. Currently, as we speak, 100 buses are on its way, which will be in the country by the first week of April, April, let me put it that way. And thereafter, another 100 and another 100 it's 300 buses that will be coming from Egypt. Beside that, we also have Dongfeng buses that will be coming as well. So the plan is to have a total of 1,000 buses by the end of this year, or the first quarter of next year. But currently, as we speak, the first 100 batches is on its way to Ghana. That will be here in April. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Ranking has a question for you.
Honorable Minister, you said Egypt. When you mentioned Egypt, I just started thinking, why Egypt? Why not deal with the mother company, or they manufacture those buses in Egypt? I'm just wondering why we have to deal with Egypt when we could go to China or wherever they produce the buses, the manufacturers, we'll talk with them, and then we are certain, or is it Japan, we are certain of the quality, we are certain of timelines. But and probably Egypt, if those buses are not manufactured in Egypt and probably they are assembled in Egypt, that means the cost is likely to be higher than dealing with the manufacturer directly. So please educate us why you have to go to Egypt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The MD wants to speak to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think now many of these multinational companies dealing with cars have various, bases across the world where they assemble their, buses or their vehicles. In Egypt, all the chassis come from Japan, and they have a base, they have a company in Egypt that build the body. And for me, what we have gone to even see, I see the quality in these assembling even more than perhaps maybe if it was coming from their home base. And they are assembling these buses, in line with the African terrain, our temperature and everything. Perhaps if it comes direct from that place, they may not be able to even do it as we will use it. So, and the price you are talking about, at least we've done a market survey, general market survey, and realize that the prices they are giving us are even, at a lower side. If we were to bring them directly from Japan, it will be more costly. That's what we have seen.
How much are the vehicles from Japan, and how much are you buying them? Because you are the one who brought it up.
Mr. Chairman, can you come again?
You said that those you are buying are cheaper than those from Japan. And I'm asking, how much would it have cost you to buy from Japan, and how much are you buying them from Egypt?
Mr. Chairman, I can't give you the figures right now. The figures are not with me here.
You are the one who talked about, so you should have an idea about the figures.
Yeah, but yes. My technical people did all those, and they did all those survey before they concluded and advised that we can go into, contract.
Your minister has assured us that 1,000 buses would arrive. 500. I'm coming. 1,000 buses will arrive at the end of this year or first quarter next year. Is that the case?
Thank you.
Honorable Minister, is that what you said? I heard 1,000. Can you repeat what your answer?
Yes. I said the plan is for us to have 1,000 buses by the end of the year to the first quarter of next year.
Put off your mic, can you? Honorable Minister, how many buses have you ordered currently?
Okay. The MD wants to speak to that.
Mr. Chairman, we had several engagements with several suppliers, but I can confidently tell you that we found an engagement with Mark Oto's an Isuzu company, and we have signed agreement. We've gone to Egypt to even do the final branding inspections, and they were giving us 300 buses from now till November this year. We've also had an engagement with another company who are supposed to give us Dongfeng buses, 100 pieces by the close of April. We've also had an engagement with other suppliers who are supposed to give us about 200 Toyota Hiace and 100 coaster buses. And so, apart from that,
Honorable Minister, that's a very simple question. How many buses, I'm not looking for your plans, how many buses have you ordered? That means how many buses have you signed a contract for and you have the resources to bring? That's basically what I asked.
yeah, for now, 500.
So you have gotten money from the Minister for Finance and you have signed a contract for 500. Is that it?
Mr. Chairman, you see, these engagements are not directly with the Minister of Finance. Metro Mass, because of the new managerial, structure, has attracted a lot of investors who are prepared to give us buses on high pitches. As far as I speak, the Isuzu buses, the 300, we have not paid a dime. They are giving us 300 buses on high pitches. We will pay them between 3 years to 4 years, period. And the other vendors too, same arrangement, because hitherto they thought Metro Mass, if anybody give us buses on high pitches, we couldn't maybe operate them to pay from our own books. But our books, our current accounts, financials, they have the confidence that if they give us the buses, we should be able to operate them and pay.
So you are saying to us that even though you are not getting direct funding from government, on your own balance books, you've signed a contract with a private organization, and I'll come back to that clause, because if you are signing with a foreign entity, there's a reason why.
No foreign entity, local entity, Mr. Chairman.
If you are signing the foreign entity, you have to come to Parliament. If you are signing a local entity, that's representing the foreign entity. That's between you and the local entity. Mind that.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to you that you say you've signed a contract with a local entity.
Sure.
That is bringing Isuzu vehicles 300 and you work on it high pitches. Is that what you are promising the people, or what you are assuring this committee?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
And when will these vehicles arrive?
Mr. Chairman, as I speak with you, the vehicles are on our high seas, and the longest it may take is first week of April. But if things go
First week of April is next week.
Where?
Next week.
Yes, I'm saying first week of April.
I'm saying first week of April is next week.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as I said, the vehicles are already on the high seas, and if everything goes on right, because you see, I'm saying this based on what is happening within the Middle East, but I can assure you that the first 100 are already shipped and they're on the way coming.
Right. So I'll get back to you. You are saying that they ship 100.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that I want to ask you, the public is listening.
Yeah.
You've signed for 300, they have shipped 100.
Sure.
And then you are hoping that by April you will get that 100. From Egypt to Ghana, we don't have the Middle East issue. No. If it's from Egypt, we don't have that Middle East issue because they'll pass the Mediterranean, or they can pass either South Africa or Morocco. Morocco is easier through Senegal and here, so it should not be an issue. Yes.
Yeah, Chair, thank you very much. Yeah. Honorable Minister, I want to find out, per what Metro Mass MD said. My understanding is that due to his pragmatic nature of working and the resetting agenda. Yes, okay. He didn't mention that, but he said due to his pragmatic measures, he has been able to attract investment. So I want to find out, were there any contract or agreement or kind of arrangement to purchase or to go into that arrangement between Metro Mass and private entity for the acquisition of buses before he took over, or there was nothing like that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as far as I'm concerned, I have not seen any agreement to that effect. The only agreement I know of, which is not even with Metromas, is about the EV buses. But I do know that Metromas, since time immemorial, had a relationship with one of these foreign companies, a Belgium-based company, VDL. And since we came, we've had some, conversation with VDL, but we have not gone into any formal agreement with VDL. But I do know that my predecessors, through the Ministry of Transport, had some engagement with VDL where they were given some buses.
Mr. Chair, I want to find out from the minister, and I'm reading his or her response. Okay, it's her because she's here. So her response in page 10. If you permit me, I want to read page 10, the response. No. Yes. No, it's the same one. Is it? No, it's a follow-up question from Honorable Asensu Boakye.
I know, but let's exhaust the...
No, it's the same one. It's the same one. It's the same thing.
Okay.
The same thing.
Honorable Minister,
Yeah.
I am going to read the follow-up question so that we'll box them together. Then you can ask the question.
Okay.
So there was a follow-up question by Honorable Asensu Boakye. He asked, I beg to ask the Minister, okay, that's, Mr. Speaker, I am excited by the announcement of 500 new buses. Could the Honorable Minister provide a specific timeline when the new 500 buses will be procured and deployed? You are sure this is the 150 buses by the close of the year and early next year. That's the assurance you give the House. So please.
So yes.
So box the two together.
Yes. So based on that, she went ahead to give us specifics that 50 buses will be coming. The buses will be coming in batches. So 50-50, and by the end of the year, exactly the answer was, we are looking at acquiring 150 buses by the close of the year and early next year. And the question was asked on 30th of October. So 30th of October, that 2025.
Early this year.
No, 20th of October 2025. And we are in March 2026. And he said there were going to be 50 buses. And the 50 buses, they are going to acquire 150 buses by the close of the year. The close of the year, please, let me finish my question. By the close of the year, 150 buses, and early next year, they are going to have 150 buses. Here we are. We've done 2025. We are done with 2025. We are in March 2026. Honorable Minister, can you tell us what happened between October 2025 and March 2026 that we haven't seen just one? They are coming, yes, we know they are coming. But they were supposed to come, at least 50-50 were supposed to be in this country, giving us 100 before March 2026. So, Honorable Minister, your MD for Metromas is here. I want you to tell us, why haven't we seen just one?
It's a process.
Yes, it's a process. But you said between October between October 2025 and first part of 2026, we are going to have 150 buses, and we are in the first part of 2026. We don't have a single bus. Tell us, where is the bus?
Chairman, just a minute.
Okay.
I think the minister is in, the first quarter of this year has not ended. And she said by the end of last year, up to by the first quarter of this year. And from the explanation that they are giving us, by the close of this quarter, the buses will be in. So let's wait. If by the end of let's say by first week of April we've not heard anything, then we know.
Honorable Ranking, Honorable Minister, answer the question. Answer the question, please, Honorable Minister. Why is it that you promised that 50 buses will come before the end of the year and the others will come after, and you didn't deliver? Honorable Minister, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the MD says he wants to answer, so I'll let him answer that.
MD, go ahead.
Chair, Mr. Chair, with all due respect, we all know that procurement is not an event, it's a process. And more to the point, I thought, maybe we would have been able to actually beat the deadline. But at the time, we needed to go to Minister of Finance for commitment authorization, PPA and all those things. And so that actually delayed. The vendor who is giving us these machines on high pitches has, he has his right to decide, to decide to maybe, the parent vendor who is supposed to give the supplier has the right to give those buses to the vendor to supply us or give to another, because the kind of buses we were bringing at the time were very, very competitive. Toyota Hayes, for instance, we all know, are in hot demand. And so the vendor explained that at the time we actually arranged that we're going to sign the agreement, we couldn't have signed the agreement when we did not have the authorization. By the time we were signing the agreement, the vendor, the parent vendor had given those supplies to a different vendor. And now we have to wait for different supplies to come from Japan. That explains why, and in fact it was a Toyota Hayes we were bringing, the 150. This Isuzu is a different one. But the 150 he's talking about was the Toyota Hayes and the Toyota Coaster. But it was just because of the commitment authorization that we did not get early, and that will facilitate us to sign the agreement. That actually thwarted that.
Did you get the commitment authorization for the 300 buses?
Yes. So finally, Minister of Transport, Minister of Finance actually, responded.
Sure.
I'm coming. Did you get authorization for 300 or 500 buses?
The authorization, you see, technically, when we went to Minister of Transport and Minister of Finance, from Minister of Transport to Finance, in reviewing our requests, they realized that if we take the financial, the law, we are not procuring. Somebody is procuring these things for us. So they told us that technically we do not fall under the law. And so we should just go to PPE, and PPE will just pass us. Because if we were actually using our own books to procure, there we fall under the authorization law. But because a different person, a private vendor, is giving us his vehicles on high pitches, we do not fall under the law. So that's why we're given the chance.
Do you bear any liability in the event that you are unable to pay? Will you want the state to pay for you?
All the titles of the vehicles will remain with the vendor. If we do not finish paying them, title will not pass. It's until we finish paying the full cost of the vehicles that title will pass to us. And so the liabilities will not, occur here. If we fail to pay, he takes his vehicles. No, but we are paying. Every month we are paying them. We are opening an escrow account with the vendor together. So as we operate, the funds or the revenue coming out of the operations, It go there straight. It's automated. And so in an event we stop paying, they retain the titles of their machines. But I can assure the
I
House.
ask you this question because you are saying that the Minister for Finance said you don't need authorization for them to bring these 300 buses. And so you didn't get any commitment from the Minister for Finance.
Yes.
Because it's a high purchase, you decided to do that outside that. That's what advice you gave them. Was it in written or it was just by word of mouth?
Oh, there's a written document which
There
we
is a written
presented
document.
to the PPA.
I'm asking that because if tomorrow there's a liability and you are sued, that is the only thing that you can use. That's why I'm asking you that question.
It's actually the whole transaction is between Metro Mass and the vendor. No government. The ministry even don't come in here. Even though the ministry facilitated all our, conversation or whatever, but the agreement is between Metro Mass, which is.
Have you heard of the word
Metro
cocoa
Company.
board before?
Eh?
Have you heard of cocoa board before?
Sure.
Are you aware that cocoa board liabilities non-government is paying?
But, Mr. Chairman, maybe the arrangement with Cocoa Board may not have involved equipments like these equipments. That titles are still with the
Just
vendor.
ask you a very simple question. Are you aware that Cocoa Board, which is a government agency, but it is independent. It operates on it, so it makes money. It had all these plans. Today, they could borrow even $1 billion and they could pay. Today, government is paying its liabilities. Have you heard that before?
I've heard that.
And you are saying that because you think that Metro Mass is the one signing and the ministry is not signing, it's not Ghana government responsibility. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, I'm saying that the agreement we have had with the vendor. Okay.
My brother, I don't agree with you. In the first place, MMT is the baby of the Ministry of Transport. You can't sign agreement on your own without the ministry. If that is what you are doing, that is wrong. And I don't think that is the case. I don't think that is the case. My sister, is that the case?
Oh, that is not the case.
That is not the case.
The
See that?
ministry
You have,
is
that
aware.
place there, don't go there.
The reason I'm asking that is the minister is here saying that is not the case. The MD is saying that is the case. I want to get from the minister what happened. You went to Public Procurement Authority. It means that how did Procurement Authority allow you, because one of the preconditions for the public authority to be able to even consider your request is to have commencement from the Minister for Finance or advice from the Minister for Finance. So how did public authority allow you to go into that agreement, a PPP agreement, without the express authorization from the Minister for Finance? Madam Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I think as I explained, I said that clearly, and let's also bear in mind, MMT is not wholly owned by government. MMT is a JVC. Government owns 45%, and other government agencies having the rest of the percentage. And so, whatever we do, we seek authorization from our board and notify our ministry. And so, from the law, we as an entity, as a limited liability company, can sign an agreement with any entity or any investor. So I don't think if we were, not in line with what the law stipulates, we would have been allowed to do that. Mr. Chairman.
Chair,
I am saying that just be mindful. People have been taken to court when they have left offices. Just be mindful that tomorrow you are not being asked to pay. If you don't succeed, I hope you will, but if you don't succeed and you are being asked to pay, and government now is being asked to take the liability, the law will come for you.
Yes, I take a cue from what you are saying, Mr. Chairman, and I believe that we will not disappoint the state and definitely we will deliver.
Yes, Honorable.
Chair, what I want the MD to understand is that in spite of the fact that you can have a PPP arrangement with a private entity, you still have to get the authorization from the Ministry of Transport before you can enter into any agreement like that. And that is what the committee wants to find out from you. And for me, if you ask me, that is the idea. You have to get the clearance from the Ministry of Transport before you can enter into any arrangement with any private entity. And that one, it's there. That is the policy, and it's there. 2, you are telling us that by early April, let me give you up to the end of April, and I want to get that assurance from the minister, not from the MD, from the minister, that by the end of April, you are giving us 150 buses that you promised, that you assured us in October 30th. In October 30th, you assured us that you are going to give us 150 buses by the end of the first quarter of 2026. So, Minister, I want you to tell the whole public, the whole general public. I had to travel from Medina through Adenta, Ashalbuche to Ebure last Tuesday. And it was around 8 o'clock in the morning. And the kind of queue that I observed within that stretch of road was not something that we can talk about. Meaning that there are a lot of people who are relying on public transport. So I want you to tell us, I want you to give us a second assurance that by the end of April, you are giving us, or you are giving the whole Ghana 150 buses. I wanted that assurance from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I assure this House that by the close of April this year, the 150 buses that you are talking about will be here in the country. That I can say that on authority. But to add to that, to compensate for us not being able to deliver the 150 buses that were supposed to be in the country, we've actually doubled it up to make it 300 or more. So I want to give you that assurance that the 150 buses will be here by the end of April. Thank you.
So the assurance is that by end of April, 100 will be around. 150. She said 100.
100.
She said I had 100. All right, Honorable Minister, we want to thank you, but there are some few public interest questions that we'll ask you, and then we can discharge you. You are aware that railway workers are currently picketing around your ministry for 13 months and 15 months unpaid salary? What is that? Can you brief this House what is going on?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, my Chief Director is here. I'll let him speak to it because he was the one that received the people this morning and spoke to them. So I'll let him throw light on it. Thank you.
Director, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, for some time now, the Ghana Railway Company Limited has not been working. And for that matter, they were not even generating monies to pay. Sometime last year, it was agreed, or there was a directive that some of their obsolete assets should be put together, sold, and used to pay them. And so government arranged for some money for them to be paid. And so a first tranche of money 10 million was released in November, and so 4 months of their salaries were paid. However, every month that they do not work, we accumulate 2.5 million as monies to be paid to them. And so when these scraps were sold, the monies were paid into the consolidated fund. And so we initiated the process. This was done by December. The process was such that some people paid and never got the scraps. Some people paid, got some scraps, and never got up to the tune of the monies they paid. And so when we made an application to Ministry of Finance to release this money for us to pay the railway workers, they had to go through all the processes to know how much that was paid, how much that is more than the materials we supplied. And so they can refund those monies to those who paid beyond how much materials they got and those who did not get any material at all. And so this process is ongoing. We were assured that this week we were going to get a letter, for that matter, a warrant from Ministry of Finance, so we can begin the process of paying them how much the amount acquired from the sale of the scraps could take care of. And so we are in the process. They took us to Labour Commission too, and we've been with the Labour Commission. They've listened to all of us, and they gave us up to end of April to ensure that this process is completed and their money is paid to them. So that's where we are up until now. Thank you.
From your own calculation, you owe the workers are alleging that you owe them between 13 and 15 months. And if it's 13 months, you owe them 32.5 million. And because you said you accumulate 2.5 million a month, so I just multiply by 13, so it's 32.5 million. If it's 15 months, you owe them 37.5 million. When you sold the scraps, because the intention was to sell these assets, which I now know is scraps. When you sold the assets, how much did you realize? You said the finance minister took it. They paid it. No, he took it. They paid it into the consolidated fund so that they can pay you to pay the workers. How much do you realize from the scrap sale or the sale of these assets?
From the reports that we got from the field, it was 20 point something. I can't remember on top of my head. But as I said, we kept receiving letters from people who have paid monies and didn't get enough materials to compensate or to commensurate with the amount of money they paid. And some people also paid into the consolidated fund without getting any material at all. So I won't be able to sit here to say that we realized 2 cedis from the sale, total sale of these scraps.
Who sold these scraps? Is it the railway company itself?
There was a task force that was put together to do this.
A task force?
Yes, please.
Was put together to sell these scraps?
Yes.
Supervised by which, by who?
The Ghana Railway Development Authority supervised this.
They supervised it?
Yeah, the task force was made out of Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Transport, and the Ghana Railway Development Authority. And I believe that the Ghana Railway Company Limited Workers Union executives were assisting the task force to do this.
Were these sales made public to the people? Was it a bidding process? How did people just pay money and they didn't have? I'm asking because I want to find out how is it possible for people to pay money without having. Can you take us through? Was it a contract that was awarded, or people just walk in and saw what it is and did? Or was it a public auction? How was it done? How did the task force do that work?
So those are information I'm yet to pick from the report.
Chief Director, you're the Chief Director of the Ministry of Transport.
Yes.
All these companies fall under your purview. You have to brief them. You are the Chief Advisor to the Minister. So you should have all the facts. If she doesn't have the facts, you should have the facts. So I won't take that from you. Tell us how it was done.
Honorable, I believe in the morning, one of the honorable members rightly said that I was very new to the ministry. In fact, I got there in November. And so I'm yet to go through all these reports. So what I've said is what I'll be able to say for now.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry.
I want to find out from the minister if, let's assume we are able to pay the workers for the 15 months. What happens in the future? How do you raise money to pay them? Wouldn't it be better to find a lasting solution than just paying them and then they coming back to demand more money? What's the plan for the ministry?
So I am aware that the minister had engaged TUC to see how we can bring this to an amicable end. And the TUC had suggested that until we pay over 70% of what we owe them, we cannot begin on any process of closing down and, for that matter, liquidating Ghana Railway Company Limited. And so we are just trying to get this amount of money to pay them, and then the process would begin. Closing down.
Honorable.
But say, so do you know that as the negotiations go on, and as these payments await payment, still the people have to be paid because they are still at post. And I know for sure that at a point in time, they had to even go to court. And the court gave orders for payment of some monies to them. So, like as the chairman said, is it the egg and the hen or the... Which I think that, Minister, you would have to take bold decision in respect of the railway issue. We have to take bold decision. That's why I always preface what my saying that we don't have to act like the normal times. We have to take bold decision because we owe them. They go to work. We don't provide them the amenities to work, and they are always there. We are always in arrears of payments to them. They go to court or they strike or they picket, and we find money somewhere to pay them, and we are still at where we are. I think we have to be bold enough.
Honorable Minister, can you respond to the comment he made?
Yeah, we've taken notes of everything, so I will work on that and make a decision as soon as possible.
So you need to find a way of revitalizing the railway sector and look at the workers. It will be very painful for people to work or to be employed and not being paid, especially living in Accra and Takra. The majority of them are living in these areas. So, Honorable Minister, take it up with your minister that when you came to the committee, our advice was to make sure that we don't hear of this problem any longer. It's not a good thing for us to say that we will sell scraps to pay them. So what happens after selling the scraps to pay them for the first time? And now that you are beginning to get some of the railway lines up and coming, you will still need these workers because the idea was for them, most of them were laborers, for them to be working. And so you have to find some innovative way to ensure that the company keeps afloat, and then we'll see what can be done. So take it up and make sure that the next time you appear before us, these things are done. It's very important. Meet all the players within the railway sector, the contractors, all the players. It is in their interest for us to do. Those who use the manganese, all of them, so that we can know what to do to make sure that this problem is resolved. It's in our interest to make sure that the young men and women who are having that problem, they resolve it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've taken note of all the suggestions and everything. I'll take it up with my minister and make sure that the right thing is done so that next time when we appear before the committee, we'll be able to give a proper account of what has been done. I thank you.
Honorable Minister, also know that social media now is very powerful. So if you take pictures and videos by social media, we'll hold you responsible for them. So if you are getting 100 buses, you get them before you take pictures. Otherwise, if you take them before, the assumption is that these buses are already in Ghana. Maybe it may have been wrong. So please be mindful of that.
I thank you, Mr. Chair, but in the videos that were out there, I did clarify that they were on its way. We took a trip there to inspect, to make sure they were, they met all the requirements and everything, because we didn't want to bring anything into the country that did not meet the standard or the requirement, and that was the reason for the trip. And so I only put it out there to let Ghanaians know, bring back hope, and let them know that the Metro Mass company is on its way to be revamped. And so that was what the video was all about. And like we said, it's like the buses are on its way very soon, like we've promised. And I'm reiterating that by the first week or by the end of April, the first batch of the buses will be in the country to augment the congestion in the country. I thank you.
MD, well, I would urge you that if you have to succeed with this new plan you have, you may have to create bus lanes in the big cities, like what President Kufuor time they tried to do. Otherwise, you lose out. And secondly, you do not politicize the distribution of the buses. Otherwise, you would not be able to make your income. Remember that a lot of the buses that you have, Metro Mass is really not doing profit venturing. So you cannot compete with the others. So you may think your numbers are okay, and you may hang yourself. It's not for me to say, but I can only advise you. Any other comment? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, like you said, we are encouraging you because of the experience we saw in December, and even now, in the mornings when you are coming to office, you see a lot of people queuing just to board trotro. They struggle a lot. When they close, even 10 p.m., you see still people queuing to join trotro. And so we need to quicken this. And I'm wondering why these buses that we are ordering, they are not all e-vehicles. We should be encouraged to go that way because we need to protect our environment. The whole world, they are going EV. And you see, I'm sure we're looking at the charging points. Mr. Chairman, I happened to visit China, some of the companies that do the charging. And I'm telling you, most of them are willing to come to Ghana to come and set up. And so we should look at partnering them. For them, look, some of the stations we visited, especially for the trucks, they have big restaurants at the stations, they have changing rooms, they have restrooms that drivers can stay and rest, and they have fast charging points. They have also points that drivers who do not want to stay and charge their batteries, they just walk in. Within 3 seconds, they change their batteries for them and they continue their journey. So as a country, we should begin to look at all these things. So sometimes as committees, when we travel and see these things, then we learn and come home, and then we are not able to implement those things that we learn. It looks like we waste resources to travel out. So, Mr. Chairman, as a people, let's begin to say, because we go on benchmarking, we see good things, then we come and we are not able to implement. What is wrong with us? We have to begin to change. Yes. Otherwise, the tests that we make on benchmarking, they become useless. So let's look at that as a ministry, so that the charging points, and then so that we come in with the e-vehicles. Mr. Chairman just hinted me that he wants to buy one for the wife and buy one for himself. Let's encourage people to do that, because very quality vehicles. All of us should be encouraged as members of Parliament to buy e-vehicles. Thank you so much.
If my wife divorces me, I know where the problem is coming from. But Honorable Minister, will discharge you, the committee will discharge you, but one little advice I'll give you, or piece of information. When I was Minister for Defense, have you seen the land around 37 where we have the trotro vehicles? It's for the Ministry of Defense. But because of the nature of how that station was structured, you can't take them away. So people came around to build one, a whole modern station, and portions of it will be dedicated to this EV charging and all the people around, where they could charge close to 100 vehicles at once. So please, and because some will be underground, most of the charging will have been underground, 2 floors underground. And then the trotros will use the normal floor, but all the charging, so you are just passing and you have problem, you go there, within 100 vehicles you charge. And some of these buses and cars we charge within 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then they go, because modern technology changes every day. 3 years ago, you needed to charge like 8 hours. But today, sometimes you can charge within 45 minutes or less, and then you can go. So please take it up with the Minister for Defense, and then liaise with them on some of these areas. It will benefit you a lot. So, Honorable Minister, we will discharge you and hope that we don't call you back. But know that the promises made by the President, the ministers will be held responsible. So there's a possibility that you will be called back before July. And we shall visit some of the things you are talking about. So if you've given us April, and we have enough time, we will come in May to visit the buses and see the metro mass and see whether it is actually your promise has been fulfilled or not. So I want you to have that at the back of your mind as you leave this place. So, Honorable Minister, I want to thank you and your team for calling upon this committee and the answers you have given us. I want to thank you very much. And I'm sure that tomorrow, no, on Tuesday, you'll come and sit with the committee to also ask others questions. I wish you well. Thank you. She said.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought because I'm a member of the committee, I wasn't going to take this long, but it's all good. I thank you so much for having...
Honorable colleagues, please stay. Stay.
And
parties, and by that, Mr. Speaker, I refer to the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and Barari DV Ghana Limited for the mining of lithium. Mr. Speaker, the same agreement. I have the agreement I presented to this House here with me, and I have perused this report and the terms of this report. Mr. Speaker, the terms of the agreement I brought before this House, by that, the agreement the Akufo-Addo government brought before this House, and the terms of this agreement are not fundamentally different. They are essentially the same. Mr. Speaker, I will resist the temptation to revisit the politics that was associated with the agreement which was presented before this House and which was essentially rejected. Mr. Speaker, I see the majority there on his feet. I'll correct myself. It doesn't matter. I'll correct myself. There's no need. I'll correct myself.
very well.
Mr. Speaker, I'll
Very
correct
well.
myself.
Let's hear you.
Mr. Speaker, the memorandum I laid before this House as the then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, which memorandum did not see the light of day until the expiration of the 8th Parliament. Because that is the record. The memorandum was laid. It was not referred. It was referred to a committee. The process was not concluded. But that is not even my point.
So the fact that it was rejected by the House,
it was not.
The record.
Expunge it, Mr. Speaker. But that is not my point. My point is not, Mr. Speaker. My point is not. I'm not engaged in the semantics of it. That is not the point. The point I'm making is that major stakeholders within the body politic of our country and on record, including our friends, the National Democratic Congress, formally and publicly rejected the agreement I laid before this House. That one is a fact. And I have the statement which was issued by the National Democratic Congress. And what is the point I seek to make, Mr. Speaker? I've already said that the terms are not fundamentally different. And therefore, I conclude on that point to say that today is a happy day for me personally, and today should be a happy day for President Akufo-Addo, and that after all, Mr. Speaker, and that after all, the suggestion that was made in the run-up to the 2024 election, that President Akufo-Addo's government and the MPP government and my modest self, the then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, has shortchanged the people of Ghana, and that we have done a bad deal, and that If you went to South America, they had better models, and therefore the agreement we entered into with Barari DV was a bad agreement. Mr. Speaker, on this 19th day of March 2026, the report which is laid before this House and the agreement, my successor, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Kofi Amabua, is urging us to approve. It's a huge vindication of the noble work that Akufo-Addo government and our good selves did prior to the 2024 election. I want, Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, that should be captured by Hansard. Why do I say this, Mr. Speaker? Why do I say this? Take free carried interest. Mr. Speaker, take free carried interest. The agreement brought here, the free carried interest is 13%. 13%. The free carried interest that Akufo-Addo government negotiated was 13%. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, we went even a step further. We went a step further to insist that the Minerals Income Investment Fund will necessarily acquire an additional 6%, which would have meant that the government of Ghana will be entitled to 19%. Mr. Speaker, not only that, we did not end there. We insisted that Atlantic Lithium will list on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and that a minimum of 40% will be owned by the Ghanaian people. And Mr. Speaker, I had the privilege of officially getting Atlantic Lithium to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and what the Ghanaian people would have gotten would have been 40%, and that would have meant this whole operation will be truly an indigenous Ghanaian operation. That was the agreement we negotiated. That was the agreement. So, Speaker, we went a step further, that the community, the community will be entitled to 1% community development fund. Mr. Speaker, I see this agreement talks about 13%, and I will refer the House, Mr. Speaker, to page 7 of the report. Page 7. And Mr. Speaker, there is a classic difference between what the Akufo-Addo government negotiated for and what is being presented to this House today. And what is the difference? Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I quote paragraph 7.3, titled Interest of Minerals Income Investment Fund in the project. It says, the committee noted that the Minerals Income Investment Fund, MIF, has taken an equity interest in the parent company, Atlantic Lithium. However, MIF is yet to take an equity stake in the mining projects. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources take steps to ensure that MIF takes the equity stake in the mining project as contemplated under the agreement. Mr. Speaker, in the case of the agreement we presented in this House, MIF's acquisition of the 6% in the project was a condition precedent for the project to take off. This particular arrangement is not a condition precedent, which is why the report says they urge the ministry to take steps. I would have thought that MIF taking equity in the project ought to be a condition precedent. Be that as it may, it's a good attempt, but it's not an attempt which is as good as what we presented before this House on 16 July 2024. Mr. Speaker, finally, Mr. Speaker, and I see the minister is engaged, but finally, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the green minerals of the world, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the green minerals of the world, Mr. Speaker, the most important aspect...
Honorable Foreign Minister Holdy, yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
there's a need for clarity in these matters. You spoke about the equity of MIF. My understanding is that the 6% interest equity, MIF is taking equity in Atlantic Lithium, okay? But that 6% interest is different from taking a stake in the mining project, the project itself. So which one was a condition precedent? Because there's some misunderstanding there. So let us have some clarity exactly what you are talking about. Because you say that in your agreement, the 6% is a condition precedent. But that has been done already. MIF has taken the 6% already. Now there's a second phase of it, which is the project itself, which is what we are urging MIF to take an interest in the project.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is exactly the point I'm seeking to make. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we are more than happy from this side to assist our friends to pass this report, to assist my good friend and successor, the minister, to get on with this business, because the management and exploitation of the green minerals of the world is such a difficult task, complex one with far-reaching implications. And that is why I'm concluding on one final point, Mr. Speaker, which is that historically, all minerals in our country which have been exploited, we all across the aisle have come to a consensus that we have not gotten the full benefit of these minerals because of the lack of value addition, because these minerals are exported in their raw form, what the pandits will say, dig and ship. When my senior uncle, Honorable Collins Dada, was minister, it was the same. When I was minister, it was the same. They mine these minerals and they export them without adding value, which is why, Mr. Speaker, the point was made that in the case of these newly found critical minerals of the future, particularly lithium, we should make a clear effort of adding value to the lithium resource of our country. The agreement I brought before this, that agreement insisted clearly, not with discretion, it insisted in black and white that the lithium resources of our country cannot be exported in their raw form, and that they will have to be processed to the level of condensates before they can be exported. And therefore, the company was obligated to set up a refinery here in Ghana to refine the lithium they mine into condensate before they can export the mineral. In fact, Mr. Speaker, in Zimbabwe, the Zimbabweans have actually outrightly banned the export of lithium in this raw form. Mr. Speaker, and so that was the agreement we brought here, which is why I am sounding a word of caution. Mr. Speaker, I have looked through this 12-page report.
Honorable Minister, can you conclude for me?
Thank you, Mr.
Honorable Minister, you agree I have given you a length of time.
Mr. Speaker, let me conclude. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude. And the reason why I made this point just to enrich whatever outcome comes out of this discussion. Mr. Speaker, it's very important. Mr. Speaker, if you export the lithium in its raw form, you shortchange your country. And our friends from the other side, the NDC, they made this point very, very strongly, and even cited countries in South America where lithium and other green minerals are being exploited, and the kind of arrangements which have been made. In fact, on one occasion, it was even suggested that the state itself should exploit these minerals and that private sector should not be involved, and that Ghana should find money to exploit these minerals, and if we do not have the money, we should not even mine the mineral. We should wait. Those were the arguments which were made, and I'm making the point that the agreement I brought here had a clause in there, a mandatory clause, that Barari DV will have to set up a refinery in Ghana and refine our lithium into condensate, value-added form of the lithium before it is exported. And indeed, they even presented a scoping report. They did research and did the modeling, the project modeling in setting up a refinery in Ghana, which will ensure that we add value to the lithium resource. I have looked at this 12-page report. That is missing, Mr. Speaker. That is troubling. That is disturbing. Every Ghanaian should be concerned. Civil society should be concerned. This House should be concerned. The majority should be concerned. So, Mr. Speaker, I conclude by saying that they say, the old people say that pray to the Almighty to live long, and you shall see a lot. If we had ended on the 16th of July 2024, Mr. Speaker, we will not see this day, the 19th of March 2026. We will not see that this same agreement is being presented to this House with 13% free carried interest that we negotiated for 19%. We will not see, Mr. Speaker, that this agreement will be presented to this House without a provision of value addition. We will not see that the agreement that is being presented is fundamentally the same as what was opposed by our friends. On that note, Mr. Speaker, may they withdraw this report. They withdrew it. They laid it on 11 November 2025. They withdrew it again 10 December. They laid it again 19 December. It's still not too late. The lithium resources are so important to the Ghanaian people. We are opposed to this report. Find a way of refining it so that we can add value to the lithium resources of our country for the benefit of the Ghanaian people. That is what will help our country. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
But Minister, you just be concluding. Minister, you will be concluding. Yes, you will be concluding. So, Honorable Sanja Nanja.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the motion numbered on today's order paper, motion number 10. That this Honorable House adopt the report of the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources on the mining lease agreement between Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and Barari DV Ghana Limited for the mining of lithium and other minerals at Mankesim, 42.63 kilometers square in the Infanspim municipality of the Central Region. Mr. Speaker, today, one of the challenges that we are facing is with mining is environment, the protection of our environment. The committee was particularly about how the company will preserve our environment. And the Chief Executive Officer of the EPA assured us that even though the environmental permit that was granted to the company has expired, every process is being put in place, and the renewal of the environmental protection permit will soon be granted to the company. And also went further to assure the committee that the company shall ensure the agreement went further to assure us that the company shall ensure compensation of resources, conservation of resources, reclamation of land, and protection of our environment. Mr. Speaker, one other area that we looked at was job creation. And as at now, the company, if this agreement is rectified, is to employ over 1,000 youth in the catchment area for direct mining jobs. And indirect jobs are unquantifiable. Mr. Speaker, it's also to note that taxes, the company is not giving waivers or exemption from taxes, and all the taxes that is enshrined in our legislations and statutes will be paid to the government, and royalties will equally be paid according to the prescribed laws in today the sliding scale. As we speak today, the price of lithium, and then comparing with the sliding scale, royalties, government is going to earn a royalty of 10%. And as the lithium prices goes on to increase, as the lithium prices keep on increasing at the world market, it could rise up to 12% of the royalty. Mr. Speaker, on the job creation, the company, the chiefs, Mr. Speaker, the chiefs and people of the catchment area, opinion members, assembly members, youth groups, CVOs, and all identifiable groups in the area were invited to our meeting. And as you say that the chiefs and the people have fully given their support to this project, in the sense that they said this project, when it comes to the area, their local economy is going to be boosted. And also, they are going to see massive development, social amenities, especially with the community development fund of annual 1%, which will accrue to the community $6 million a year. So, Mr. Speaker, given the support that the chiefs and the people from the area is giving to the project, the committee recommended that the House should rectify this agreement so that the economy can be boosted, youth in the place can get jobs to do. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I call on the House to rectify the other side, to join us rectify the agreement. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I take for granted the fact that this report made provision for environmental issues in the contract area, and indeed stated that the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, will be required to issue an environmental permit before any operations can take place. But, Mr. Speaker, in my view, the environmental provisions in the agreement are not adequate. Lithium production has significant negative footprint. The key environmental issues relate to water contamination, soil degradation and pollution, waste generation, even e-waste. The footprint is quite colossal wherever lithium is being produced. But environmental permit really, Mr. Speaker, does not address environmental mitigation, because the permit is issued before the operation starts. But during operations, when you have environmental disaster, how do you mitigate that? the agreement has to provide for it. In most jurisdictions, the polluter pay principle applies. But even with the polluter pay principle, it is important that financial guarantees are provided so that when there's an environmental disaster, the company does not give an excuse that they don't have sufficient resources to mitigate. And this is why, in addition to the polluter principle, financial guarantees have to be provided. Mr. Speaker, two ways of addressing this is to request the company to post an environmental bond so that in the event of such a disaster, the bond is liquidated to mitigate the effect of the disaster. The other way to do this is to set up an environmental mitigation fund so that a certain percentage of the revenue from the sale of the products will be put into the fund to be used to mitigate against any disaster when it occurs. Mr. Speaker, these are all absent in the agreement. And therefore, I side with my colleague that this report be withdrawn and these major environmental mitigation issues are addressed, because that is very key, Mr. Speaker. If they are not addressed, then I will have a difficulty voting for this report. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, because of the environmental concerns, communities that will be affected are too exposed. But I see only 1% of annual revenue required to be put in a community development fund. 1% of annual revenues. This may not be enough if you match it against the enormous negative footprint lithium production could bring to our communities. And so I propose that we should increase it to 2%, if not even 3%, so that communities are properly compensated because of the effects they will have to contend with, because of the risk associated with lithium production. Mr. Speaker, if we cannot do this, we will be exposing the communities too much without preparing to provide the amenities that could help them cope with the footprint lithium production will bring on them. And so these two issues, Mr. Speaker, I think need to be looked at seriously. And therefore, if our friends on the other side will agree to take this report out, withdraw this report and address these issues and bring it, we will all be happy when they bring the report back with these modifications. We will all be happy to support this, and I believe Ghanaians will support it fully. And I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, minority leadership.
Speaker, I rise to sum up the views of this side of the House, the minority caucus. Speaker, the report before us is in respect of the revised mining lease agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana and the Barari DV Ghana Limited, a subsidiary of Atlantic Lithium Limited, granting rights for the mining of lithium and other associated minerals at Eweya in the Mfantaman Municipality, Central Region, a region where I come from. The agreement is presented for ratification pursuant to Article 2681 of the 1992 Constitution. Speaker, let me state for the records that this side of the House, the minority, is ever ready at all times to support development of Ghana's lithium resources, since the development of these resources
would amount to job creation, increased opportunities, and creates an economic hub in the central region, which reports has it that central region has a high level of poverty because of lack of jobs. Mr. Speaker, the projects at Ewoya represent a historic opportunity for Ghana to participate in global green energy transition. But our concerns are the terms on which the government proposes to cede these rights over Ghana's mineral endowments. The regulatory architecture that now frames those terms and the pace at which Parliament is being asked to act. It is upon these that the minority oppose this agreement in its present form and shape. And earlier, my respected colleague Abu Jinapo and my own senior Dr. Mohammed Adam had cause to reiterate the views of our caucus. Mr. Speaker, my duty is to provide a summation of all related issues underlining our reason for rejecting this report. Mr. Speaker, you may recall that in October 2023, the Nana Akufo-Addo administration negotiated and signed a mining lease with Barari DV Ghana Limited, securing 1, a royalty rate of 10%, elevated from the statutory floor of 5%, a free carried interest of 13% for the state, an additional 6% equity stake through the Minerals Income and Investment Fund, bringing total participation to a reported 19%, and a requirement for local stock exchange listing. Our friends, then in opposition, vehemently rejected and blocked the ratification. They argued that the terms were insufficient, that agreement lapsed unratified at the dissolution of the 8th Parliament as a result. Upon assuming office in January 2025, Mr. Speaker, the NDC administration renegotiated this agreement. The product of that renegotiation is an agreement that at current market price yields a royalty of 5%, the same statutory floor that prevailed before MPP's negotiation, and at price of $2,250 per ton that prevailed when the original 10% was negotiated in 2023, will yield only 7% under the new sliding scale. Mr. Speaker, it is further on record that Barara DV Ghana Limited was prepared to proceed with the project under the original 10% fixed royalty. The minority invite this House to place that fact alongside the government's decision to grant concessions and to demand a full and frank explanation for that reversal. Mr. Speaker, first, we want to invite this House to look at the regulatory context. In this sense, we proceed to submit that the LI and the GSL amendment ought to be critically looked at. Mr. Speaker, in drawing the attention of the House to the regulatory sequence that immediately preceded this debate, as it is directly material to any vote on this mining lease. Mr. Speaker, the Minerals and Mining Royalty Regulation 2025, our colleague, the chair of subsidiary legislation, sounded the alarm bell, but our friends will not listen. On December 19, 2025, our respected colleague, a former deputy minority leader and now a minister of state responsible for this sector, laid the Minerals and Mining Royalty Regulation 2025 before Parliament, introducing a sliding scale royalty regime for gold, lithium and other minerals. Mr. Speaker, for lithium and spodumene The price band are 5%. That is up to 1,500 USD per ton. 7%, that is 1,501 to 2,500 per ton. And 10%, which is 2,501 to $3,000 per ton. And 12%, which is above 3,000 tons. Mr. Speaker, the legislative instrument matured into law on March 9, 2026, having completed the constitutionally required 21 sitting days without amendment. Our caucus, the minority, notes that at the time of the original MPP negotiation in 2023, the spodumene prices stood at approximately 2,250 per ton, yielding a 10% fixed royalty. Under the government's own new framework, the same price of 2,250 falls in the 7% band. In other words, the sliding scale delivers a lower royalty than the fixed rate that existed when the deal was first made, at precisely the price level used as a reference point for that deal. Mr. Speaker, this is not an improvement on the MPP steps. At any price below 2,500 per ton, it is a regression and we beg to submit. Mr. Speaker, our colleague, Honorable Patrick Yabuama, warned publicly on 10th March 2026 that the royalty regulation could cost Ghana close to 1 million jobs by deterring mining investment. Those concerns were not resolved before the LI matured. Parliament now faces a request to ratify a mining lease governed by a regulatory instrument about which the minority's most fundamental concerns remain outstanding. Mr. Speaker, let me delve into the Growth and Sustainability Levy, the GSL Act 2026, as amended. Speaker, Parliament has passed the Growth and Sustainability Levy Amendment Act 2026, reducing the levy on mining companies from 3% to 1% of gross production. The government stated that the rationale was that GSL increase from 1 to 3% was originally introduced to compensate for the absence of the windfall tax mechanism, and that the new sliding scale royalty regime now performs that function. Mr. Speaker, we disagree. We urge this House to delay the third reading of that bill for further scrutiny, because stakeholders were expressing concerns, especially our bilateral partners. However, this House proceeded over that objection. We, however, draw Parliament's attention to the net effect. Whatever additional royalty revenue the sliding scale regime is projected to generate must be assessed against the revenue forgone through the GSL reduction. The government has not presented Parliament with a consolidated net revenue analysis, and Parliament cannot responsibly ratify this lease without understanding what Ghana is on the balance actually gaining. I repeat, we do not know what we are actually gaining, and we are being asked to ratify this. Mr. Speaker, we want to now turn to our concerns as a caucus regarding the revised terms. 1, the royalty structure and unverified financial assumptions. Mr. Speaker, it is our contention that government has accepted the Atlantic Lithium's claim that a sharp decline in global lithium prices of approximately 80% from 2022 to 2023 peak renders the project unviable under a 10% fixed royalty, and that its post-tax internal rate of return has collapsed to 13.6%. The minority notes.
Minority Leader, Honorable Abednego. Is that Abednego, the member who turns his back towards the maze? Yes, so you can continue.
Speaker, the minority notes that the Natural Resource Governance Institute has modeled the project independently and found it economically viable even at $785 per ton of spodumene concentrate. Mr. Speaker, the company has not publicly disclosed the assumptions involved in its revised IRR estimate. Mr. Speaker, Parliament is being invited to ratify royalty concessions premised on financial projections that remain unverified and undisclosed. This is not a sound basis for the exercise of Parliament ratification function under Article 268. Mr. Speaker, second, the transfer pricing and offtake risk. Mr. Speaker, the Piedmont Lithium holds approximately 22.5% equity in the Ewoya project and has entered an offtake agreement to purchase 50% of the project's production for its U.S. refining operations. Mr. Speaker, refineries outside of China routinely require below benchmark pricing to remain viable. If Barrera DV sells spodumene to Piedmont at below benchmark prices, Ghana's royalty base, computed on mine revenues, is correspondingly reduced. The minority is not satisfied that the revised agreement or the royalty regulations LI adequately addresses this risk through benchmark-based pricing requirement, benchmark-based pricing requirement or related party transaction protection. Mr. Speaker, it has to be emphasized that these concerns were raised when the LI came out for consideration, but our friends opposite ignored. Mr. Speaker, the third issue has to do with community impact. We acknowledge the genuine hardship endured by farming families and communities in the concession area, where a moratorium on farmlands has disrupted livelihood for over 2 years. Communities in Ewoya, Amanse, Nankesido, Anochi, Abonko, and Trafu have been patient and have waited long. Our side of the house is not indifferent to that reality. However, Mr. Speaker, we beg to submit that the agency of community relief does not justify a structurally weak agreement. A 1% community development fund from gross revenue, while welcome, does not compensate for a royalty regime that at current prices delivers the statutory minimum. These communities deserve both a timely resolution and an agreement that maximizes the long-term royalty and development dividends available to them and to the Republic. Mr. Speaker, on the basis of all that I have submitted, on behalf of my colleagues, the following are our demands. Mr. Speaker, 1.
Yes, Minority Leader, just a minute. Honorable James Akaga.
You don't have your numbers. Don't cause any problem that would create further problem for you. You continue what you're doing. There's an agreement at leadership level, and you come back and you rise on points of order. Continue. You see the consequences.
See, Honorable
Continue. You see the consequences.
Honorable Minority Leader, I hold you in high esteem, but it's not everything that you should be placing into the hands. Yes.
But the minority leader is intimidating me.
Let me hear you. Yes.
Speaker, the minority that holds the conscience of society and this democracy hereby submit the following for the consideration of this House. 1. Net revenue analysis. Mr. Speaker, we request that the minister table before any vote is taken a consolidated net revenue analysis comparing the projected state revenues and the NPP's original fixed 10% royalty against those under the revised sliding scale regime, net of the GSL reduction from 3 to 1%. Parliament cannot assess the value of this agreement in isolation from its companion legislative changes. I repeat, Parliament cannot assess the value of this agreement in isolation from its companion legislative changes. Second, Mr. Speaker, we demand a full disclosure of financial assumptions. The minority requests that the minister make available the full financial model and revised assumptions submitted by Atlantic Lithium and Barara DV Ghana Limited in support of its request for royalty concessions, including the basis for the claimed IRR of 13.6%. I expect the minister to take note and respond appropriately. Mr. Speaker, third, benchmark pricing protections. We've done a lot of research on this matter. You can't take it for granted. It's not mere policies we're doing. Take note. Mr. Speaker, the minority requests that the minister confirm whether the revised agreement includes benchmark-based pricing requirements for offtake sales to related parties, including Piedmont Lithium. If not, we want to see proposals for such provisions which should be made and submitted before this ratification. Mr. Speaker, fourth, transfer pricing and anti-avoidance. We also call for an explicit protection in the agreement against profit shifting through related party transactions, including limits on interest deductions and clear dividend distribution rules, consistent with the recommendations of the Natural Resource Governance Institute. You are already aware of their recommendation. They brought it to you. 5, non-dilution of state equity. Mr. Speaker, this is very critical and the minister must pay attention to this. The minority requests confirmation that the revised agreement includes a non-dilution clause, protecting the state equity stake from reduction through future capital costs or corporate restructuring. Mr. Speaker, a lot of times Ghana has suffered under this, where there's a way these investors dilute their shares under restructuring in one way or the other. We want to be sure that the minister has actually secured for us as a country a non-dilution clause that will protect our interests as a country. Mr. Speaker, 6, Community Development Fund governance. Mr. Speaker, the minority also demands full details of the governance, disbursement structure, and the oversight mechanism for 1% community development fund to ensure that host communities receive the promised benefits in a timely and accountable manner. Mr. Speaker, now we speak for the people. Most of the time, such investors, when they come, they abandon the community. We don't just want talks. It should be enshrined in the document that you want us to ratify today, so that the local people will benefit from this. Else, Mr. Speaker, if we sign this document, Parliament approves this today, that will be the end of the local people. If the majority is not looking at this, we on this side of the house stand with the people. Mr. Speaker, we also demand from our respected minister independent expert assessment. Mr. Speaker, we call on Parliament to invite from credible institutions, including NRGI and the Ghana Revenue Authority, an independent assessment of the revised terms and their long-term net revenue implication before this ratification. Mr. Speaker, with all of these said, we humbly conclude by saying that at any point that the ministry and its minister is able to come to the table for further engagement on these key concerns and ensure that the agreement factor these in, we, the minority, will be ready to support the ratification. Mr. Speaker, currently, however, we are not prepared at all to endorse this agreement, as same is premised on unverifiable financial assumptions, governed by a regulatory instrument rushed into law over the minority's initial objection, and structured in a manner that at the current and recent price levels deliver unacceptable royalty than the deal the same NDC rejected in opposition. Our country's lithium endowment is a generational asset. The terms on which it is leased will outlast this parliament, the 9th parliament, and we will define the revenue, employment, and the community development benefits that flow to Ghana for the duration of the mine's life. Parliament has a constitutional bona fide under Article 268 to scrutinize those terms with rigor, not to validate a legislative sequence that has been engineered to foreclose a debate. Mr. Speaker, we therefore call on this House, and in fact we insist on the disclosures and the protections outlined in our submission before a vote is taken. We owe that standard of care to the people of Ewoya, the people of Ghana, and above all, the integrity of this House and its parliamentary oversight. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully submit, therefore, that the agreement in its current form and shape is opposed, Mr. Speaker, and government must not wait on CSOs to come with their criticism before they do another U-turn. Mr. Speaker, all that said, I rest my case without more. Thank you very much.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, if my colleague, the Minority Leader, had served me a copy of what he just read, I would have also prepared a lengthy, statement to read. But Mr. Speaker, I have not brought before me a written script. But I will speak extempo and respond to him appropriately. Mr. Speaker, let it be known that the former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, my very good friend, Honorable Abu Jinapo, has said that there is no material difference between the agreement that he brought to this House and the agreement that we are considering today. That there is no material difference. That it is in essence the same agreement. No material difference. Mr. Speaker, I think it is important to know that
Majority Leader. Yes, Honorable Abu Jinapo.
Mr. Speaker, most respectfully, for the record, I did not say what the Majority Leader is attributing to me.
What did you say?
Mr. Speaker, I did not.
What did you say?
Mr. Speaker, the Minority Leader, the Minority Leader should stop intimidating. The Minority Leader should stop intimidating his members. The Minority Leader should stop intimidating his members. Things that they said openly before the cameras just a few minutes ago, you are urging them to say something different. We're all in this chamber. When we did a comparison of the agreement that we brought as a minister and the agreement that is before us, and concluded that in essence there is no difference. So why did the NDC oppose it? He said, why did the NDC oppose it when in essence what we brought and what the NDC brought are the same.
In fact, he added he's been vindicated.
And then he said that he has been vindicated. That he has been vindicated. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker is reminding us of what was said. Okay, Mr. Speaker is responsible for the records of this House. Speaker is responsible for the records of this House. And so what has been said, he can remind us to straighten us. Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
Mr. Speaker. Oh, what's your problem?
Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader has a duty to ensure the peace of this House. Today is the last day of the Ramadan, and tomorrow is Eid. I don't want the Majority Leader to lead any of us here into temptation. He knows the conditions behind him. He knows the conditions behind him. And if he knows his own condition, he should not attempt to bring trouble to this side of the House. We have told you that we are opposed to this. Don't now pick us out of context. And Mr. Speaker, you are the presiding officer. Mr. Speaker, don't be tempted by the Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, make the cuckoo now. Don't. I beg you. If the Majority Leader can be brief, he should be brief.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
When the Minority Leader, before the cameras, pleads with you to be brief, you have to be brief. So I'll be very brief, which is to say, Mr. Speaker should put the question.
In fact, you have to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I conclude.
Yes. Yes, Honorable Minister, will you want to give a concluding remark?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, and to thank members for the very valuable contributions. I've taken notes of all the contribution, especially the long speech by the Minority Leader. Mr. Speaker, it's important that I point out key changes to this agreement. Indeed, there are provisions in this agreement that did not change, but there are fundamental changes that I must note. For example, in their old agreement on growth and sustainability levy, we now have flexibility. They had a fix. Huh? No, you say, oh, but why? But that's a changes. It is important. Oh, please, it's the same agreement. I'm not contradicting the leader, and I can't contradict my leader. I cannot. But it's important to point out that, for example, there's a new provision that says that the company shall pay to the government of Ghana all other fees, levies, and charges as provided on the applicable laws. Under the old agreement, it was fixed at 1%. Here, there's flexibility to allow the government of Ghana to lock in anytime there's that opportunity. So that flexibility has been provided. Well, Speaker, in terms of royalty, as we all know, we had a fixed royalty of 10%.
Minister, I'll urge upon you to also make it brief.
Oh, I'm making it brief. But it's important that I point out that this new agreement has really made critical provisions that are important, and we must point them out. There was a lot of noise made about the fact that royalty was reduced to 5%. Today, I'm proud to say that at the current rate, royalty will be 12% and not a 10% fixed rate. because of the sliding scale that has been approved by the
Yes,
House.
Minority Leader.
Oh, please. I'll draw the noise. Let's
Yes,
make
the noise is withdrawn. Yes. Yes, it's withdrawn. Yes. So
I did. Mr. Speaker, something very important that I must also add is a new addition. You know, we wanted to be sure that the communities and that this mining of lithium will not also come to add to the destruction of our roads. So a critical provision that has been inserted is that within 6 months from the ratification of this lease agreement, the company will undertake a feasibility study for the construction of a jetty, a barge, and a mini port system of appropriate size. And this is very important because we want to make sure that we don't focus on destroying our road. Mr. Speaker, I think that for the people of Awoya and other communities who have waited for almost 3 years, I think this is a very important day for them because there's a lot that will happen in this community when this project takes off. And I want to urge all our members to basically vote, defy their leadership, and support the majority. Defy for your marking. I will draw that, please. I'll draw that. Please, join us in approving this agreement. I thank you.
Honorable members, I think we have concluded the debate. Yes, Minority Leader, after the conclusion of the debate, what else?
Speaker, with respect, just want to put on record that the entire 87 minority caucus of this House vote en bloc against this agreement, to the extent that, Mr. Speaker, the minister did not carry our concerns on board and insisting to carry the report in its present form and shape. We cannot be part of this. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we vote en bloc in rejecting this. That is when, Mr. Speaker, you put the question. Mr. Speaker, we are signaling that when the question is put, this side of the House, all 87 are voting en bloc.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader, you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand.
I'm serving notice.
I didn't put the question.
As you put the question, you know that this is our position. So, Mr. Speaker, we want Hansa to capture us
very well,
so that when you put the question, we don't need to come back.
Very well.
So Hansa should capture
very well
that when the question is put for the ratification of this agreement, the 87 members of the minority caucus will vote en bloc, and we hereby vote en bloc against this agreement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, Minority Leader, what happened if part of the minority vote in favor or against the motion?
Mr. Speaker, I am saying that we are against it because the concerns we've expressed have not been addressed.
Very well.
That is all.
Very well. Members, at the conclusion of the debates, I would put the question. As many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Honourable members, let's proceed to take the consequential resolution numbered 11 at page 4 of today's order paper. Yes, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
I beg to move that resolution numbered 11 on page 4 of today's order paper be moved. I think.
Honourable members, the Minister has moved for the resolution. Any seconder?
I second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the resolution has been moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. This being a consequential resolution, I will put the question. The question is, as many as are in favor of the adoption of the resolution numbered 11 at page 4 of today's order paper, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The resolution is accordingly adopted. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we were hoping that we will end the day at this point, but there's a matter that has been pending for a long time, the establishment of the committee for the purposes of auditing the report on the financial statement of the Office of the Auditor General. Motion number 18. Motion number 18. It's a very brief one. We can just take it. No. It's a brief one. Motion, the committee, just a committee. Just to establish a committee. There will be no debate. There will be no debate. Just the committee.
Honourable Jerry Ahmed.
You have members on it. No,
Honourable Deputy, you see, this is a committee which is already formed by both sides.
Speaker, let us always go by our words and have good faith in every transaction or engagement. I understand that it's just there are several other things. We just have to move a motion. We agreed.
Because the membership has already been agreed upon by the House.
Let's end on a good note. Tuesday, we come and take it. Lisa, it's just Tuesday, just that one. But if it is let it be no. No. Mr. Speaker, please. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important motion. A motion that is to lead to the constitution, Jerry, please. That is to lead to the constitution of an ad hoc committee that will audit the accounts of the Auditor General, which is a constitutional imperative.
Honourable members, with all due respect, for me, this is a consequential matter because both sides of the House have already agreed on the membership of this committee made up of Honourable Kofi Bente Afro, Honourable Matthew Nyindam, and Honourable Ataisa. The House has already agreed. Both sides of the House has already agreed on this. So this is just a formality.
All this, we could have done it earlier. We could have agreed on same. Speaker, all of this...
It's better late than never.
Speaker, well, so it is also better that we would have done this to take the other motions that are also consequential. Speaker, no, we didn't agree at conclave. I was at conclave. We never agreed. No. Let's stop this. We never agreed. Let's stop this. Let's be fair to ourselves. We never agreed at conclave. What is wrong if we are closing on this note and then coming on Tuesday, come back on Tuesday and take it? Why? What is wrong? Well, I'm raising, Speaker, respectfully, I'm raising quorum. I come. Yes, I'm going to do that. Mr. Speaker,
let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, this is the order paper for today. This is a business that is advertised to be taken today, and we agreed that at conclave that we'll take it. Jerry, this thing you have to stop.
We had agreed. Yes, we had agreed. This your insistence that a business that is being advertised to be taken today, you get up and say that you will take it. On what authority are you saying that a government business cannot be taken? So your government can say that business cannot be taken. Who will take it? Who will take it?
Yes, let me hear you. Honorable Jerry Ahmed, yes.
Respectfully, let me reiterate the point that at conclave we discussed issues to be dealt with today. This was not part of it. And I'm saying that in good faith, we have decided to do a lot of things on Tuesday. Speaker, this can be taken on Tuesday. The two major leaders can have an understanding. Speaker, I am not against this. I am not against accountability. My name is not mentioned in anything. I am dealing with good faith and goodwill. And that is all. And when I'm talking, my brother Rossi should understand, I also represent the caucus. So I talk based on what the caucus has agreed for me to come and deal with. So it has nothing to do with me personally.
You see,
so
when I'm looking at this particular business, I cannot describe this to be a government business. Because if the committee among the various caucuses have agreed on their own members to form a committee in order to do an act. However, that is supposed to be adopted by the House. To put a question to adopt it, I don't see any difficulty about it. Because both sides have submitted names and the names have been put together for the House to adopt. So this is not any business that will even be debated. Because this is consequent upon the two sides of the House agreeing that three people should go and perform an act. Honourable members, within a second we can take this. Motion number 18. Majority Leader.
Speaker,
yes.
Speaker, before the Majority Leader, respectfully. Speaker, if you insist, because I believe that it's a parliament of two sides. And I believe that consistently we should show good faith when we agree on matters.
But
Speaker, if it is your, respectfully, Speaker, if it is your view, you want to go ahead. Speaker, that's fine.
But I agree with you that parliament is made up of two sides. Now, one side has produced a name and the other side has also produced a name. So the House will adopt whatever the two sides have done. The motion 18 is just agreeing on what the caucuses have already agreed upon to do a particular work. That is all. It's not that now that the caucuses are going to agree. They have already agreed and they put the names together already.
Mr. Speaker, my recollection is that yesterday you were going to take this motion, but both sides said they were tied. And I'm told that you said we should take it today because both sides were tied. So it's an agreement that you had yesterday. And the members on the committee drew my attention that this thing has been pending. And this is not government business. This is actually our business as a parliament. It's not even government business. And it's the responsibility of my colleague and I to make sure that this committee is established. And, you know, there's a very important name on the committee, Honorable Matthew Yindam. So if there's a committee and Honorable Matthew Yindam is a member, and you are seen opposing the establishment of the committee, it doesn't look good for your side. It doesn't look good for your side. Yes? Exactly. It's been there a long time. It's been there a long time. It's been there a long time. So why are you keeping Matthew waiting a long time? Why are you keeping him waiting? So, Mr. Speaker, I move that we take motion number 18. I so move.
All members, motion move. Any seconder? Speaker, I rise to second the motion. All members.
members, motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. Our members, clearly this is not a motion that calls for a debate because both sides of the House has already agreed on the composition of the committee. So I'll proceed to put the question. As many as are in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it, and the motion numbered 18 at page 6 of today's order paper is adopted. Honourable members, having adopted the motion, it is to be placed on record that the following members are recommended for appointment: to audit and report the financial statement of the Office of the Auditor General for the year ending 31st December 2024. The members are 1. Honorable Kofi Bentel Afo, Chairman. 2. Honorable Matthew Nindam, Member. 3. Honorable Ata Isa.
Speaker, the proposal is that they return with the report within 30 days.
Very well. The committee is to work and report to the House within 30 days. Yes, Honorable
Speaker.
Yes.
It's 5:15.